Hello guys, today we're going to start 1.4 complex numbers. So if you look here, we have a definition of the imaginary unit I. So just please make sure you know this. I is equal to square root of -1, where I squared gives us -1. That's very important to make sure you remember that. Okay, so let's highlight this part. Also here we have the complex number definition. So if you have time, you can read this. So I'm basically just highlight this part, and that will be the complex number. We always want to write it to the form of a plus bi form. Okay. So let's go ahead and start with example 1, adding and subtract the complex numbers. So let's go ahead and recopy the question. For this type of questions, very similar to the past we've done this. When you're dealing with, let's say 5 minus 11x and then plus 7 plus 4x, all you're doing is just going to calculate terms. Since it is a plus sign, all we have to do is we're just going to take the parenthesis off. So I'm going to write this 5 minus 11i, then plus 7 plus 4i. Once we have this, you're just going to collect the like terms. So in this case, we're dealing with I, and then we're also going to find all the numbers together. In your case, you always write the form of a plus bi form. So you have your real number here first. So we put them together, right? 5 plus 7. And then we're also going to put negative 11 plus 4i, put them together. Okay? So let's go ahead and work this. So I know once you're used to it, you look at 5 plus 7 is 12. And then here we're going to have negative 11 plus 4. Okay, let me just fix this really quick. So negative 11 plus 4, we're going to have negative 7i. That is your answer. Let's look at part B. When you do this type of question, let's go ahead and take them out the parenthesis. So I have negative 5 plus I. Okay, the one to get rid of the parenthesis, negative become positive 11. Negative again become plus 6i. So really careful on this when you're dealing with negative. Okay, so when you take it out from the parenthesis, be careful of the sign. So once we have this, again we're just going to put all the numbers. Negative 5 plus 11, so that will give you positive 6. And then we have 1i plus 6i, that will be 7i. So again, you're going to check, is in my form, a plus bi form, which is in our case, yes, that is the form. So we're done with this type of question. So let's go ahead and work on example 2. Example 2, we have multiplying complex numbers. Okay, so we're going to have part A. So again, it's very similar to the past. All you have to do is we'll do a distribution. So in this case, we're going to have 4i multiply 3. Alright, that'll give you 12i. Then we have 4i multiply negative 5i, that would be minus. So that's just going to write it down, 4i multiply 5i. Okay, really be careful on this one. So once we have this, let's go ahead and continue simplify a little bit. 12i, in this case we're going to have 4 multiply 5. So we're going to put them together. Then we have I multiply I, that would be I squared. So I'm going to continue simplify it. That will be 12i minus, in this case, that will give you 20. And then I squared, remember we said I squared early, we give you -1. So make sure you remember that. So that term gave you -1. So once we have this, we simplified it. We're going to have 12i plus 20, because negative become positive. So because we want to always write the form of a plus bi form, so we have to rearrange this a little bit. That will be 20 plus 12i. Okay, let's go ahead and work on part B. So you have subtract, and then between this is a multiplication. Okay, so once you have this, we're going to use the following method. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to have 7 multiply -2, give me -14. So 7 multiply negative 5i and give you minus 35i. Then we have negative 3i multiply negative 2. That will be negative, negative become positive. That will be positive 6i. And then you have negative 3i multiply negative 5i. That will give you a plus 15i squared. Once we have here, then we go ahead and continue. We're going to simplify it a little bit because we know right here I squared equals negative 1. So this term is going to become negative 1, right? Right here will give us a negative 1. So let's simplify a little bit. That means that will be 15 multiplied negative 1 give you negative 15. So we're going to go ahead and rewrite this right here. That will be negative 15, right? Because 15 multiplied negative 1 is negative 15. Then we also have minus 35i plus 6i. Okay, I just rearrange it a little bit. Once we have this, negative 14 minus 15, that will give you negative 29. And then here we have negative 35i plus 6i, that will give you negative 29i. Again, you check if your answer is the a plus bi form, that is your final answer. Okay. The only thing you really have to be careful is when you have I squared, often my students are just going to have a plus 15. So make sure you do this sign correctly. Okay. Example 3. Using a complex conjugate to divide the complex numbers. Okay, we want to divide this and then write it in the standard form, which is the a plus bi form. So what we're going to do is, when you're dealing with this type of question, so we're going to use our conjugate of a complex number, which is right here. In this case, we have 2 minus 5i. We're going to multiply the conjugate, which is 2 plus 5i. So over 2 plus 5i. Because you have to make sure you're not changing the expression. If we multiply the denominator by 2 plus 5i, then we have to do the same thing to the numerator. So once we have this, so we're going to simplify it. The numerator, I'm going to put the parenthesis there. That will be 7 plus 4i multiply 2 plus 5i. And then the denominator be the form of a minus bi, right? Multiply a plus bi form. So now we're going to have a squared plus b squared. So in this case, if you compare that, so your a, that will be what? Your a is 2, right? So you compare this form, your a is 2, then your b is 5. You only look at the real number, okay? So let's go ahead and color it. Alright, hopefully that will help you to distinguish the numbers. So now we have to deal with the numerator, right? So we have to do the full method, which is we've done this for example 2. So go ahead, we're working on this. That will be 7 multiplied 2, that will be 14. Then 7 multiplied 5i, that will be plus 35i. Then we have 4i multiplied by 2, that will be give you 8i. And then we have 4i multiplied 5i, that will give you 20i squared. Then over, which we have right here, that will be 2 squared plus 5 squared. So in this case, it will give us what? That will be 4 plus 25, which will give us 29. So I'm going to go ahead and just write it right here. That will be 29. So we already simplified it. So once we have this, let's go ahead and finish this. That will be 14, right? And then here we have 20i squared. So 20i squared, we already mentioned 20i squared. This I squared is just going to give you negative 1. So that will be 20 multiplied negative 1, that will be negative 20. So we're going to have 14 minus 20. Then we have plus 35i. Let's go ahead and write it. 35i plus 8i. So which means, let's go ahead and do a little bit further. That will be 14 minus 20, that's negative 6. And then we have plus 43i over 29. So you're going to say, hey, can I just stop right there? then you always have to check because they want you to write it to standard form. So we have to write it in the real number and plus the BI form. We simplify this a little bit further. So we're going to separate it. We're going to write it -6 over 29 plus 43 over 29i. So that is your final answer because that is the form of A plus BI. I'll make this video a little bit short. I want you guys to go ahead and start working on your homework part 1. Thank you for watching the video. I'll see you guys next time.